Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Blue Abroad Show, the Round 6 recap. It's going to be a very, very positive show today, so I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm going to make an introduction right away because Danny's just kicking me under the table at the moment. As always, obviously, want to make a proper introduction. The Pommy in Oz, Dan, how are you, my friend?
Oh, no bad. Can't complain.
Mate, you're 7 days later, the vibe around you, you're a different man. Real professional last week, wanted to really atone for getting up and about the week before. I think the people sort of are expecting, or they're just asking, what are we going to get from you tonight? Happy times.
Oh, mate, 52-point win against the Western Minnie Mouses.
Yep.
It's back. Walt Disney AFL is back.
Yep. Absolutely.
We've got the Port Goofies next week.
No, we'll get into all of that. We'll definitely get into all of that as everyone is starting to come onto the show. Obviously, we've got a YouTube stream, a Facebook stream. We want to give a big thank you to Shad, who does the work behind the scenes here. He runs a company called Assertive Media. So any of your video needs for your company, you want to bring them to life, Shad is the guy to get in touch with. You've seen his Facebook page, Assertive Media. Make sure you go there, check out his website, show him some love. He's a Carlton man as well. Also, we've got a new friend, Dan. We've got a new friend. Brandon from Melbourne Coffee Roasting Co. has joined us as a sponsor for the month. So Brandon runs a boutique small batch coffee roaster here. He's been a Carlton supporter. He's been a big friend of the channel for a long time. And he's hooked us up with a discount code. Carlton15 at melbournecoffeeroastingco.com, 15% off your orders. So thank you very much to Brandon and looking forward to getting stuck into it. And as always, the members of the channel, you guys allow the channel to grow. You allow things like competitions to happen on game day, and it doesn't go unnoticed. So a big shout out to you guys: Adam Galgano, Omar Kazi YouTube, Riley Starrage, Matt Holmes, Damien Munier, Dom Pangrazio, Black Carrot, Rowan Vertigan, Jesse F, Yakov Belfer, the Pressure Point Podcast, Jim Stayos, and our two new members, Henry Bush and Sean Costello. Thank you to you guys, and I hope that we can give you as much entertainment as possible. Now, let's get fucking right into it.
Just going to say, that list goes on forever now with members, isn't it?
I think I might have to split them up throughout the show. Yeah,
it's like the entry gates to heaven. Jesus, yeah.
No, talk to me. Talk to me about your experience. We're just 24 hours away, even less. Actually, we're right on 24 hours. Talk to me about how you enjoyed that last night.
Oh, single best moment of my life. Over the wedding, birth of the kids, easy. Well ahead of it. Don't need Zoe anymore.
It was a coming of age performance, though, wasn't it? It really was. It was the performance. You could argue that some holes could be picked in the other wins in the season because we had lapses in concentration and the teams that we played got back into us. But we all want this magical four-quarter performance, which seemingly was out of reach, but it happened. It was the four-quarter performance. Did you see it that way?
Oh, well, I mean, I got it wrong the week before where I said all we needed to do was beat a side because we'd beaten the top four side. We'd clung on. Well, we had never destroyed a top four side, and we destroyed a top four side. We got the win we wanted where it was the complete performance from start to finish. The intent was there. Again, it seems to be the lucky charm when Cripper bumps someone at the first bounce, Carlton wins. So I'd love to see Cripper uppercut someone at centre bounce because we'd probably win by 100. But honestly, that was the best game of football you've seen all week by a team. It was complete. There was no chinks in the armour. There was no holes. There was 22 blokes. Probably you could make an argument for to have one vote as well. Like they all put in a shift. There was no stragglers, no carriers. Phenomenal performance.
Votes are going to be so difficult to give. We're obviously going to try and do them tonight. There's a beauty in that. There's going to be no right answer. You can make the case depending on how you watch the game, whether you've played it or coached it, whether you've been a defender or a midfielder. It's just so pleasing. A well-rounded performance from guys who are not the household names, guys who have just come into the side. And again, it's a step forward. And we sat here last week. We knew the fixture. We knew it was the Doggies. We knew it was Port Adelaide. And we all sat here and there was a general consensus of, can we find a way to win one of these next two games? So, we've won one now. Do you classify next week? Is it a free hit now? What's the mindset now?
More of the same. Tops. I mean, the wonderful thing about this season is top teams have slipped up. So you've only got to think. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking Hawthorn had turned a corner under Clarkson. He laid into his troops. They put in a really good performance against Richmond. Then they've backed it up with the rubbish they showed this weekend. So it's there for the taking for Carlton. We know that teams slip up. Brisbane this week again slipped up. So really, the ball's in our court. We're in the 8, and I'd say now, if I was Carlton, I wouldn't be looking at the 8. I think the 8 is cutting us short. That performance is top 4. It's grand final stuff.
Oh, no.
It's things of dreams.
Mate, we're 5 minutes in and you're talking grannies. Jesus Christ. Speaking of, Ruffy in Tune, thank you very much for the $2. He says, in capitals, get back on the hype train, Dan. Carlton premiers. So you've got someone agreeing with you there.
Choo choo.
No, we've got to learn our lesson. We had this situation 2 weeks ago. We're up and about. We're calling teams Mickey Mouse clubs, and then we got found out. We've got to learn our lesson.
Well, you can. Don't worry, honestly, literally, 20 minutes, I was in silence, in amazement of what I'd just seen. Like, I had all the emotions. Like, even my wife came in and gave me a kiss because she was like, that was amazing. Because it was like a relief. I'd finally seen what I get angry about, and they performed. But as soon as that happened, I'd seen messages from you and Dane. I ignored you guys, and I just got stuck straight into my Richmond mates, my Collingwood mates, letting them know we're back. 52 points. Yeah, if you're not up and about now and you're not like shelving the don't break emergency glass, break the emergency glass now. 52 points. That's a win, man.
Love it. No, I spoke a little bit about, for us Melburnians, what last week meant, knowing that there's a growing reality that we're probably not going to be going to the footy this year. It's getting more towards that than not. I don't want to look too far ahead, but just based on what's happening. And there was a real, it was a sadness. Let's be honest. It was, mate, I welled up. I was actually emotional. I don't even want to think about what grand final day is going to be like. It was, I couldn't control it. I was just so happy that, fuck, after all these years of emotional investment and waiting and hoping for the time that I can say, oh, okay, we're actually getting better. It happened.
Yeah, I've got to say what I felt, and this was a weird emotion. I said it to my father-in-law. When it finished, I felt sorry for players like Fisher. Like, there was a bit of sadness inside of me. I was thinking, I wish Fish was part of that side. I wish Lockie O'Brien was part of that. Because to me, I felt like, and he said it himself, it felt like that was like a defining moment, because there was no questions like the Essendon game and the Geelong game where it was like, oh God, we had a bad quarter. These boys controlled it and they all stepped up. And I think that this 6-week kind of isolation is going to really help them out in the terms of they played like a team that was playing for each other. There was a lot of mistakes, but there was always a man who was there to back up that mistake. Williamson, epitomizes that. He made a mistake and then he chases the guy down, and you could see there was an intent to rectify it now, not in an hour's time.
Yeah.
And I felt the intensity. It was a different Carlton. There was an energy that I have never felt before. It was like watching a good team. It was like when I sit there with my Richmond mates in 2017 and they're like, oh my God, this is brilliant. I was feeling that as a Carlton fan. I was like, God, this is good, man.
Yeah.
And I never was panicky in 4 quarters.
Yeah. I mean, we had a 9-day break. I wasn't confident in winning. I was confident in that we'd be prepared. I was confident that we'd be I didn't think we'd fear them. I think Heath Buck talked about it in his preview. He didn't feel like we'd fear them. And I felt that as well. I thought last year, the both times we played them, the way that the Dogs play and the way that they set up, they go head to head. And I felt like there were possessions there to be gotten. If we just played like we weren't fearful of them, that we'd be able to take it to them. Now, winning and then winning in the way that we didn't see that happening. But it was just, we weren't reactive. We were proactive. It could be a result of the first start, where we might be a team that needs to get that early confidence in the game to then feel like we can be proactive. But look, full credit to the guys, and I just can't wait to get stuck into it.
Well, I mean, I got blamed for the St Kilda loss because I picked the team. So I'd like to take some credit for this one, because I said,
oh, here we go.
Put someone on Caleb Daniel. We saw Eddie Betts kill him. And I said, just tell Pitternet to do his job and he'll kill English. And he really stifled English from the ground. So as my first W as an AFL
Well
coach.
done, mate. Well done,
I got slated for the St Kilda. You should see my inbox. It was me who lost it. I wore that loss.
Let's get through to some comments. There's plenty of them coming through. I'm going to look through Facebook first. Debbie says, hello, boys. Hello, Debbie.
Hey, Debs.
Debbie was at the game.
She was. It was a birthday.
There was a birthday, yes. So, Debbie, what a birthday present.
21 years young.
Yeah. No, I spoke to her earlier. She said it was as good as the 95 grand final. The best game she's been to since the 95
Well,
grand final.
our
So,
messaging has changed. Said that if the Carlton boys love you, they'll absolutely smash the doggies. So that's proven it.
love it. George Stella, you can tell we've had a great win because there's no ploughman knockers. Marcus Bredmore, we have the wood over the dogs settled down. Fair enough. Todd Panak lost some weight as well. I've been wanting him to play for ages. I think he's talking about Kennedy.
Oh, he looks good, yeah.
Yeah, Anthony Walsh. David Teague's leadership has been inspiring. Chris Brider, sorry if I've mispronounced that. To think we have JSOS, Fisher, O'Brien, Dow, and Stocker who could come into this side. Things are looking good. Tyler Shaw, Martin is the next Eddie Betts. Absolutely incredible. Gibbons will be a champion. Time to secure a longer contract with him. And let's secure Papley and then let's go for it. Kano says Hawks in Perth round 9. We'll definitely get to that. Kevin Doherty, Plough fucking stuck it up to him. That Eddie goal sequence from halfback, fucking amazing. Love that.
Feel you, bro.
And a few more on the YouTube as well. Cardman 22. Blues might be the real deal now. Muhammad Ali. How about the baggers?
I miss Stevie.
Stevie will be on the channel.
Miss him.
He will be on the channel. I can guarantee you that. I miss Stevie as well.
I just need video chats when we win.
Yeah.
You just need to send it.
Rowan Vertigan, I miss Fish so much. Rowan, by the way, I've been trying to get in touch with you. I need to give you the Sam Doherty print that you won last week. So please be sure to get back to me on that. Chris Beach.
Beach boy.
God, hang on. I've missed it.
Jesse
Jesse F. Kennedy's rove off English to set up the Noons goal needs more love. Absolutely left the tin rattlers clutching at smoke. Yep, they're all coming through. Let's go through some structure at the moment. So I think I want to give another thank you to the fans. Can we talk about the fans that were at the game? Do we know how many were there in the end?
I have no idea, but
did you? I don't know about you guys at home. So
it was loud though.
In the second quarter, there was a terrible umpiring decision. There were many of them, by the way. And the boo that I heard through the projector that I was watching from, I couldn't believe how loud it was. And I think we're going to get more fans this week. And so I think a lot of credit needs to go to the fans because, you know, you spoke about it. You've been speaking about it all year. You know, you chatted to Mitch McGovern at the BNF, Jack Silvani as well. They told you like it makes a difference. And I just want to give credit to the fans that were able to go. Just because we can't go doesn't mean we shouldn't be happy for those that could go.
I was super proud of him. I was speaking to Riley. He rang me as he was walking through the ground.
And Riley was...
And I said to him that I have this feeling that our goal-kicking woes will be ended when there's a crowd there, because I was like, it's a lot easier to hit a target when someone's motivating you. It takes the pressure out. I was talking about Pep Guardiola said something amazing, that players get inside their head, but when the crowd are there, it forces them to play on instinct.
Yep.
So worries alleviate, fears die because you can't hear your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I wonder if that happens with Carlton. And you saw it. The goal kicking was amazing. Everything was good. And how could you not want to? Because it was hard to believe there was any Doggies fans there.
Yeah.
Because all I heard, and for anyone watching the replay, 5 minutes 34 left in the third quarter, turn your volume up because the umpiring decision happens. You hear a cracking bit of swearing picked up on the mic. It's one of the funniest things I've ever heard in AFL history. I won't say it though because we'll get cut.
Yeah, cancel culture is real, mate.
But it's brilliant.
Cancel culture is real.
Brilliant.
Yeah, no, a big thank you to the fans and obviously the players. And there's a buzz around us at the moment. I think the club have done a fantastic job in making us feel like we're all in this together. Big shout out to the media team who have put some phenomenal content together. These spotlight videos that they're putting together, I think they're fantastic. And, you know, the players, you know, making sure they're thanking the fans at the ground, these little videos after the game, thanking the crowd.
I love that, yeah.
Eddie Betts talking about, you know, hope we made you guys like it's, I'm getting carried away, but it is so much more than football for us at the moment. I know that, you know, this might be a difficult time for us. It's not the most difficult time. You know, our ancestors went to war and things like that. But the reality is it's still a little challenging for what we're used to. You know, they sacrificed for us to have these liberties and to be able to sit there, be proud, be happy, and be up and about on a Monday night. Are you mad?
Oh, I mean, I think you've missed the biggest thank you. Thank you, Stephen Silvani, for bringing us Jack Martin.
Goodness me.
I'm one game away from getting a divorce, and I'm just going to marry Jack Martin. One game away.
Without him being there.
I don't care.
Just elope.
I'll force it on him. Like, honestly, he's so good.
Yeah.
Like, best moment. He's so, like, everything he does, he's magical. Like, him and Betts. I mean, that's one thing that I'll say that I noticed a big difference. That first goal we kicked, Harry Mackay, and it was how the players ran to get around him. You could see there was a different energy. And I don't know if that is crowd-led. Yep. I think it is. Okay. I think it's harder to create your own noise. And that's what a lot of the teams are talking about, creating your own noise. It looked like we were switched on and energetic.
Yeah.
And it was great to see the doggies make mistakes like we do. In the fourth quarter, like Liberatore was turning it over. Like he's an experienced, reliable player. And it was great to see their heads crumble. So, I think the fans make a huge impact. I think the Queensland supporters group, for me, is one of the best supporters groups I have ever seen. And I come from a soccer background where we're crazy. So, I mean, I think the way that they go about their business, them in Western Australia, schmick.
Absolutely. Gavin Whelan from Facebook says, I drove 2 hours from Sunshine Coast to watch the game. Was such a sweet 2-hour drive home. Can you imagine listening to, I'm assuming there'd be talkback radio after the game, not the coverage that we Victorians got. I don't want to talk about it too much, but they went straight to the bounce after the game, didn't give us anything other than the boys singing the song. I thought it was a bit of a drop ball there. But anyway, that's that. Aaron Clarkson, great win yesterday. And now for the ladder leaders, Port Adelaide next Sunday. Nick Munro says, how good? Setterfield, Kennedy, etc. The future is bright. We need to get a star midfielder that helps to keep possessions. Debbie said, I did ask last week how many goals we were worth. That was a question.
You did, you did. Indeed. Evidently 52. So what's that? That's 9 goals.
9 goals. There it is there.
There it is.
George Stella, Bet still gets defenders nervous, still at 49 years old.
I love the exaggeration.
Emilio, you mad? I see you. You mad? He knows where that's from. Mary Spry, yes, thank you, Sauce, for the choices you made. Chris Brighter, that's good, Dan. Kevin Doherty. So will the reality be Bam Bam to replace Cripps? I'm just asking. Interesting there. Steve Wallace losing nearly all stats at quarter time, but dominating the 1%ers shows we are looking after each other. Finally, we are a team. Everyone's just happy.
I think
it's so good.
I think Kevin's question there is brilliant though about Cripps. I mean, there was something that I mentioned in my video, and I haven't heard anyone mention it. If you watch him play that game, he sacrificed his game for the betterment of everyone else. And I was noticing it every time the centre bounce happened, he came straight off his man and shepherded for Kerno or Cripps. And they both had 7 clearances each. And it was all because of Kennedy. Kennedy sacrificed himself. And you saw he put his arms out and he stopped McRae many times.
Yeah.
And that was what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago about Mitch Robinson missing a player that says, screw my game, I'm going to make you play. And not only did he do that, he also impacted the game himself with 2 clearances and just under 20 touches. So to me, Kennedy, I remember last year Russell saying, once he gets fit, you're going to see him. And I was like, I think Russell needs drug testing. I believe my exact words were Russell needs drug testing because he'll fail it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wrong.
Because we saw a guy that didn't look like he was quick enough for the game. We saw a guy who didn't look like he worked hard enough. But
it was so good.
You're right. His spread was there. And the fact that Teague said in his press conference, we had to pick him. That is the exact situation we want to have for O'Brien, for Stocker. Everyone's asking, where's Stocker? Tiggy's making them have to knock the door down. That's exactly what we want. It's one step forward. Let's not get too carried away. Yeah, it's great. I think it's great win, but it's a good sign that that's happening. And Fisher, who I think the consensus is he would be in our best 22. How can you make a change to that game barring injury?
I don't think you could.
I personally don't. What do you think at home? Maybe we'll get to that later. Let's touch on the notables for the game. So these are 2 players each who are not in your votes. You can go first. Kennedy was going to be one of them, but go another one.
Mark Pitternet.
Pitternet. Okay, talk to me about Pitternet. And at home, please, tell us about Pitternet.
So if you look at the numbers, like there's not a huge disparity. If you looked at it, you'd be like, oh, well, English has lost the hit outs, but he's won round the ground. But I think it's much more than that. I think watch Tim English's strength is his vertical leap. And one thing I've criticised in the analytics corner, I criticised him, is under pressure, he caves. He's like a foldable suit. He's real quick. And he started leaping really early. You could see he was scared of the contact, particularly in the third. You could see he was fearful of the contact. He would jump like 9 seconds before he needed to. And Pitternet kind of just stood on the ground, took the contact and tapped it down. I thought Pitternet used his strength well, and that was a sign of a good ruckman. We saw a couple of weeks ago against Gorn, he was willing to mix it up in the athletic department. This week, he was willing to get down and dirty and play to his strengths. And I thought English had a piss poor game. I know the fantasy stats are good, but I'd be disappointed if I was a doggy from what English is capable of. He
Yeah.
wasn't as effective as he usually is.
We spoke about that last week. We were confident in that matchup because we knew that the ruckman that English does struggle against are the bigger, stronger
ones, yeah.
Mumford. Yeah, the burly types. Exactly right. So, no, that's a good one there. I'll give one of my notables. I don't know how he didn't get in the votes, but he didn't. ZV3 says Plowman's best game in his opinion. Thank you, ZV3. My notable was Will Setterfield. I thought early in the game, the absence of Cripps, really in terms of dominate, he's just getting better week to week. He's got his knockers, and it's been a very interesting journey for him. Obviously, coming off the knee last year, he even said in his interview, I think a fortnight ago, he said that last year he just wasn't an athlete. He was still just getting over the injury, finding his feet, so to speak. And then he's obviously got his body in shape. Then he was sort of playing on the wing, and now we've got Walsh playing on the wing. And then I guess at some point, after round 2, that's when it was. That Negropontis article came out. After round 2, Teague's obviously decided to put Setterfield in there. He's obviously doing something behind the scenes that is giving him confidence. And his ability, just to be the link man, win the footy, it was good. It wasn't there last week against the Saints as much. He did go forward and kick those 2 goals. But I do want to have him as one of my notables. I was really pleased with him. And I'm just happy with his progress. I don't really look for him to be a superstar just yet, but I'm just looking for him to improve week to week, little bit by little bit, and I feel like he's doing that.
Oh, 100%. I couldn't agree more. I thought he was phenomenal that game. He's really owning that role. And you can see, usually when in that first quarter when Cripper did this, grimaced, held his shoulder, usually you'd be like, oh, no.
Yeah, man. Yeah, seriously.
No. But suddenly I didn't feel so bad because I was like, Kernow's killing it.
Yep.
Kennedy was killing it at that time. Setterfield, I didn't feel bad. I was like, oh, well, we'll battle these guys.
Yep.
So, yeah, and I agree with you. He's starting to become a worthy key on baller for us.
Yeah, for sure. A few more comments here. Rowan Vertigan, Levi is my notable, had 2 aggressive kicks off halfback into the corridor. Is there any position he can't play?
You stole it.
Andrew, was that yours?
Yeah, come on.
Well, let's elaborate. Go on.
No, agreed. I was going to say Levi. I mean,
I had a feeling that was the one.
Teague always says, don't get seduced by the numbers. And there was a few people bagging him, I saw on the forums quite a time because he didn't kick a goal, didn't take any marks.
Yep.
But what he does that there isn't a numerical data for is phenomenal. The fact that he creates contests wherever he goes, he keeps people honest. There was the first goal, if you watch it, Levi has shepherded one of the defenders out of the way to give McKay that just one-on-one, which we know he's going to win. I think Levi, for me, is a lock for the All-Australia. If the season was to COVID end...
that big call again.
We'll win. If you're not used to Carlton win, Pom makes an outrageous statement, you're on the wrong show.
I love it.
But generally not. For me, Levi, and I've got to commend this. We know I love mental health and I'm a big advocate of it. His article this week, what a hero. I don't often cry. I think I've cried when Old Yeller died in the movies, and that's about it. That was emotional, man. What a bloke, man. Yeah. To have the balls to talk about how his wife supported him, a real modern day hero in every sense of the word. And he brought my David was all about Dan Butler and Jack Steele last week.
Yeah.
He's fallen in love with it a little bit with Levi because of the Pythons. So he's an absolute hero. And, that's the kind of person, as a father, if my kid had on the wall, I'd worry about Dustin Martin because he's mates with Dane Swan. But, Levi, that's a role model to kids, man, because he talks about it. And he's a hero.
That's not something that people talk about a lot about him. He's a wonderful person.
And for me, he plays the game like that article read. He gives 110%, and he's not ashamed of it. And what a hero, man! He should be in my 3 votes, but he's not. But notable, great bloke. No, love you.
Fair call. Very, very much a fair call. My other notable, I can't believe I didn't find a way for him to get in the votes, but I gave another notable to Gibbons.
Nice. You don't need Papley when you got Gibbons.
Go through the last 3 shows that we've done, and have said it every time. Was that his best game for Carlton? He's crafty. He's smart. The wet weather conditions, perfect for him. He's been playing.
He's finding the goals.
He's been playing at grounds that are, chopped up his whole life. He's done it the hard way. Very much like Levi. He's a guy, how do I describe it? He's a guy with the character. Done it the hard way. We've got a lot of draftees, early draft picks who, they're very skillful and, they've been given that reward. Gibbons is someone who's still very skillful, but he was overlooked. That's just the reality of his career. He's been overlooked, and he's been made to really knock the door down. And he gives inspiration to a guy like a Matt Kennedy, who has throughout his whole career from juniors to now, he's always been looked at as, oh, he's a gun, but he hasn't really been made to prove it. So Gibbons is doing, what he's doing on the field is great, but I can't help but feel like what he's doing for a guy like Matt Kennedy, what he's going to be doing for a guy like Stocker and O'Brien is so valuable to this footy club. And, it's just a big thank you and a big props to him and just his game. He's fantastic.
I said it 6 months ago. You don't need Papley when you got Gibbons, man.
So let's touch that on that.
Surprise.
So you and I go back and forth on this.
So good, man, Gibbs.
Yeah, he is. Gibbons is good. We still do need a Papley, I think, but he
just
was
give him the million. Gibbons, he's one of our own.
He's one of our own. Mickey Gibbons, he's one of our own.
Genuine. No, you see it though, because like I said to you last year, the last 6 games they were on par statistically with Papley. If he could reproduce that all season, it's Papley-like numbers. You see it. He's at willingness. He's got something that few players have, and I think you touched on it there. He's had to earn it. He hasn't been given it. He's earned it. And he's gone the hard way. Crappy little articles in the newspaper while Mickey Mouse players are getting $1 million salary, and he's got heart. And I love him. Like, you don't begrudge him doing well, because you think hero story, 24 years old, playing Williamstown, suddenly now on the big stage. Wouldn't it be great? Like, I would lay all the money in the world if we make a grand final. That's the Norm Smith medalist right there.
Mate, it's Jackie Martin. How can you not have Jackie Martin in a granny?
I love him there. I love him.
No, let's move along. It's so hard, with 26
Can we just do like 22 notables?
No, let's go through the 1 vote, the 2 votes, and the 3 votes. So those of you who put them through today, thank you very much. If you haven't yet, leave them in the comments below. Give us your 1 vote, your 2 votes, your 3 votes. Dan, give me your 1, 2, 3s. Do them in succession because we're
1 vote,
running out of time.
H. McKay.
Yes.
2 votes.
Yes.
J. Martin.
Yes.
3 votes. Eddie Betts.
Love it. Yeah, love it. I went 1 vote, Eddie Betts, 2 votes, Jack Martin, and 3 votes, Ed Kerno. I gave Ed a lot of love this week.
I agree.
I gave Ed a lot of love. We know what Bontempelli can do to a side that turns the ball over at key stages in the game, especially in the wet. We know that he's still clinical. I thought his job on Bont was great. I thought the ability for him to go on to Bailey Smith and change his mentality was also a big tick for Teague to be able to think about making that change and risking letting Bont go off the leash, knowing that Bailey Smith was there. But look, full credit to Ed, full credit to Teague, and we just keep running along, mate. We're just humming.
3 votes should have been David Teague, though, because he set up brilliantly, knowing that they go through the corridor, play a very high forward press. And how many times did we kick it out the back for banter? I was enjoying that.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. Ed Kerner probably deserves votes. But no, I went with Eddie. I can't get over 4 goals, man.
Yeah.
It was beautiful to watch.
Yeah. Now, I've got a few more comments here. Simon Martin on Facebook. Gibbons is still a rookie. Surely will be a new permanent contract. He's still a rookie.
Yeah, he is, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Screw Papley. Give him the money.
Yeah, interesting. Gavin Whelan, it pissed down rain the whole game and Carlton still kicked 100+. Blake O'Halloran gave 3 to the pit, 2 to Eddie, 1 to Gibbons, Clinton Bart McRae. So if people rate the Cats, Bombers and Dogs, then what are they saying about us now? Good question. Dom Pang is in the house from Osaka. Good morning. I think it's there for you now, Dom.
I love his videos late at night. It's so
good. Georgie Stella, 3 to Martin, 2 to Betts, 1 to Libba. Let's move to YouTube. We've got Black Carrot. Gibbo is a bit of a veteran, more so than a rookie. Yeah, very true. He's still buzzing. Black Carrot, Brooklyn Pilgrim. Ed is a rare unit. Liam Daniels gave 1 vote to Eddie, 2 votes to Ed Kerno, and 3 votes to Martin. Jude Blundy, 24. H. McKay, 1. E. Kerno, 2. Eddie Betts, 3. It's all
somewhere between our votes are the right votes.
Yeah, it's all humming along.
That's good to know.
Let's go through a few more of these fan questions from today. Timothy James, will anyone in the media say something nice about Carlton this week? Well, who needs the media, mate? We're doing it now.
You got us.
Yeah, it's all here.
If you want professional normality, go and see you. If you want stupid, we've won a flag, come and see me. So you've got everything you want.
Best of both worlds, mate.
Everything you want.
If you want chance,
we
come here after the show because we let them go.
Yeah, we can do that as well.
No, I thought it was interesting. I mean, look, are we just looking for a fight now with media to say why aren't they giving us attention? Do we really care?
I like it because you remember the Doggies. Everyone was like, they were playing really good football when they won a flag in 16. They played really good football, but no one gave them a prayer. Everyone was talking about the resurgence of Collingwood. Is this their year? Sydney, Fremantle.
Yeah.
And Doggies just went about their job, won the flag. I like it. Don't talk about us, because how great will it be to be able to tweet Kane Corns 5 minutes after the final siren when we've just smashed Collingwood by 60 in a grand final. I can't wait to tweet that mug.
Goodness me. That mug.
I'm super excited. I've got it planned.
No, definitely. Tyler Shaw asks, given now that we have some depth in the team, especially in the midfield, ideally, how would you manage Dow, O'Brien or Fisher, considering game time hasn't happened in a while for them? Either changing their roles like SPS has, where would you play them? Good question. They didn't have a practice match this week. They had just a big training session. So we'll take from that what we can. I mean, it is what it is. I think at the end of the day, though, very much like Kennedy, we have now, is it going to, I'll ask you this and I'll ask you this. Does this mean there's a change in mindset now? Because these are guys who, when they've been fit, they've just gone straight in. Are they talented enough to play in the ones? Probably. Yeah, they probably are. But now we're in a situation where they're going to have to knock someone out. That with that comes a difference in mentality, because usually I make a note of a lot of people just sort of say, play the kids, get Philp in, get TDK in. I personally really like this whole, he needs to be unlucky not to be playing for a couple of weeks. What do you think? And what do you think at home?
Well, you look at the best lists in the competition, Collingwood, Richmond. You go on their forums, you watch Swoop Lou, great Collingwood guy, talks about Will Kelly, how he's tearing it up in the practice games. Can't get in the game. Then he comes in and he tears it up. He shows something. So now we've got that wonderful luxury. And if you remember 2 years ago, Dylan Grimes, there was Richmond fans wanted rid of him. Rance goes down against us. Probably one of the best defenders in the comp. We've now got that situation with our depth where Dow now gets to go off, learn the game, and do what Teague said about Kennedy.
Yeah.
We couldn't not pick him.
Yeah, true.
So we're not giving him a chance on potential. We're giving him a chance based on the now. And that is, to me, going to make us a flag team a lot quicker than the way we've been doing it.
Yeah, fair call. Michael Walmsley says, we were great last night. You boys need to calm down until we start backing up these wins. A week is a long time in footy. He's 100% right.
Won 2 in a row last time.
Yeah, it's a good segue. And that's the thing. We did back up the Geelong win. It wasn't an anomaly. That was the important one. And let's turn our focus to this week, because we've got Port. I love Port Adelaide. I have a very soft spot for them. I think they're a very well-run organisation on and off the field. They've had one bad game this year. Apart from that, they've ticked every box. Some news coming out from there. Brett Ebert copped a week, so he's going to be out. He's a very important link in the chain for them. Sutcliffe did a hammy. He'll be out. And this is what I love about Ken Hinkley. Straight to the point. We know exactly what's going to go down at Port this week. Georgiadis is coming in and Dersma's coming in, apparently. So they're a really good side. They're a really good side. What are your initial thoughts on Port? And for you guys at home, what are your initial thoughts on the Port Adelaide game?
I wouldn't worry about a shipping yard.
Come on, mate.
Nah, they're tough. Let's be honest. They've got some very good players. Robbie Gray's very good. Historically does well against Carlton.
Yeah.
But just never ages. Solid footballer. I mean, they're a tough side. But, I mean, if we want to win flags, and that's where I have us, that's where my excitement comes from, and also my harsh criticism, I believe we're in the window now. Statistically, we are. So if we're in the window, we've got to beat these mugs.
Yeah, we spoke. Yeah, like I said, we spoke last week. One of the next two. Do you? Not that it's a free hit, but it's easy to just say if we bring the heat, bring the pressure like we did against the Doggies, we're in with a chance. And it's true. For the most part, it is true. I don't see things going our way the way it did last night. Port hang in there. Again, apart from that Brisbane game, they hang in there. They're very competitive. They play a very direct style of footy as well. And I'm very mindful of them. I'm very mindful of them. I've got a lot of respect for Port Adelaide.
We know you do, yeah, but you don't have to.
No, it's not just to be nice.
I think if you look at how we play, I think David Teague has created like the antichrist of the modern day footballer. So you can see he sets up to beat your Richmonds, your Doggies, your Collingwoods, them style of teams. And Port are really a microid of that. They're very direct, like you say, very somewhere in between Richmond's ball movement and the Doggies. Very efficient.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I'm wary, but I wouldn't be fearful because we should be beating these sides. In my mind, we're top 8
Yep.
We have to beat these sides.
This is the big tick. I'm going to make the case for us, apart from the fact that I think we'll win. They're sort of at this 5th week of the hub life. They flew back last week to Adelaide to get some home time and go back. I wonder if it's just starting to wear on them a little bit as well. I wonder if they're going to be as fresh, because that was a tough game against the Giants that they played. They came away with it. They had I have a really good friend of mine who's a massive Port fan, one of my best friends growing up, and he was sort of talking about, we had the fear factor against the Giants. He's like, we don't have the fear factor against Carlton. That for me, that mentality. I hope that the Port Adelaide players have that. Like, oh, Carlton, we're going to win, because I think that's when we'll be able to get sides this year.
Well, I think you watch against this weekend that when Sutcliffe went down, there was no one to tag. And you could see that's where GWS got. Like, how are they stopping Cripps? Like, are they going to bring Wines back? Because Cripper will smash Wines.
Yep.
Cripper will smash Rockcliffe. So, and Cripper, Cripper never has 2 poor games in a row. So, Cripper's going to be fired, because I'd imagine Cripper, he had a very good game outside of disposals. But Cripper, you can see there's
He's
a little
primed.
bit of,
it has to be.
You can see there's a little bit of arrogance in it.
Yep.
He wants to be the main man.
Yeah.
And for the first time I can remember, we've won a game without these 2 guys being probably best on ground.
Yep.
Usually it's one of them 2 has done it. So to me, it's all primed. And I don't think, I'm a bit different to you. I don't have a loyalty to Port, and I watch every game of football I can. And I'm not impressed by Port. I haven't been impressed. Who have they beat? That's my question. Like,
Giants, good win.
But what have they done? No, but like, honestly, I don't look at them and think they've been playing football that I'm overawed by.
Yeah.
And
well, look at it.
Geelong had played brilliantly before we played them. They'd played some beautiful football.
Yep.
As had Essendon, like only team in the comp to beat Essendon. How good have Essendon been?
Yep. Fair call.
I think they're a good side.
But are you making changes?
No.
Strictly no.
Unless Murphy's injured. I think you'd probably have to bring someone in.
Okay. What about you guys at home? If we do need to make a change. So if it is Mark Murphy that comes out, it looks like he's okay though.
I hope he is.
I hope he is too. If it is Mark Murphy that comes out, who's the next cab off the rank at the moment? Who is right there? Is it Fisher?
I'd say I'd probably bring in Fisher. Yeah, I'd bring in Fisher, and then you could shift Gibbons to a more midfield role, because I think Gibbons has got the ball quality to do what Murphy does.
Yep.
So, I mean, I hope not though, because I think this 22 definitely needs another crack.
Yep. Jesse F says Fish as well with his Fisher emoji. Love that.
I just think this Port game is an underline, because we've destroyed the doggies. Imagine if we beat these mugs by 30.
Fuck me. The lid.
It's
going to be chaos if we can get this one.
I'm going off on Kane Corns if we win this one.
Yeah, that's the other thing at stake as well.
Boys.
Yeah, true. Do you know what emerged last night? Not emerged. It was always there. Carlton Twitter emerged last night. I found myself, every time I was updating my feed, there was a new tweet.
Yeah, you tagged me in something and it was going.
It was just all sorts of things happening. I haven't thought about that Kane Corns notion. So if we can just get Walshy to have a nice, sweet game, and Rosie to keep having, he's in a bit of a funk as well, Rosie. If we can have that to continue, I think we're in good stead. But for you guys at home, I'm seeing a lot of Fisher to come in for Murphy if injured. It seems like the sentiment is that Fish would be the next one. What about Jack Silvani?
How is he going? Because there hasn't been much from the counter media. Like, it was the Bruce Long? You would have thought he'd be here or thereabouts. I mean, you would say perfect matchup the way that Rosie plays. J-Sauce on him would be beautiful.
On Rosie? J-Sauce on Rosie?
Okay. He starts in that half forward line, rotates through the midfield. And he does look, to me, Rosie does look a little bit Zach Butters-like in the terms of he melts when he's got a bit of pressure on him.
Zach Butters is having a very good year, mate.
Zach Butters. I mean, look at him. Come on. He looks like the kid who didn't wash at school. Mug. But no, I'd say J-Sauce would be a great shout as well. Like, you'd have to find a place for J-Sauce. But having said that, forward pressure was exemplary yesterday. But
we'll find out. Ellie Lipschatz, Slippy from Tel Aviv. Hello, mate. Who plays on Dixon? Is this just a Wiedering job? Straight.
Wiedering.
Is that
Wiedering for breakfast? Charlie Dixon.
Dixon. Yeah, look, he's a very strong body. You know what? He's a really good example of a forward who puts the pressure on. He doesn't kick a lot of goals all the time, but he does put the forward pressure on. He definitely straightens them up. But yeah, every week this year, there aren't many forwards in the comp that I go into into a match where I say to myself, oh gee, so and so could really get a hold of Jacob. Like
I think
Jacob will keep him honest.
Hinkley's an intelligent coach, as is Beveridge, and you saw Beveridge last night do something really weird and put Mitch Wallace on Jacob Wheater, try and throw him off with a bit of pace. And I thought Wheater did well. That's a tough matchup. Like I actually thought brilliant coaching because we know Wheater can stand with you toe to toe if you're big. How's he work with the small running around his feet? And Wheater showed it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Hinkley do something the same. Maybe throw Rosie, your mate Butters, maybe throw him on Wheater for a little bit to see how he works with a smaller player.
Yeah.
But I reckon Wheater versus Dixon, one winner Wheater.
There's another one here, and I've been thinking about it today. What do we think about Samo on Robbie Gray? Robbie Gray obviously starts in the forward line and then rotates in the middle. I feel like Samo's got the capability to do both, like literally just tag him all game when he's in defense. He's just got to be careful. Robbie Gray's very crafty. He can find some space for himself. But I wouldn't mind seeing that as well. There's an option there.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I'd love to know what, the viewers think of who would they put. Like, you've got Jones as well. What do you with Jones? I thought Jones did really well last night of being a lot more loose.
Yep.
And
they've got Marshall and Georgiades that'll play. Three genuine tools.
And I think, though, that when you look at them two, though, like, it's really all about Dixon, and the other two are kind of like the complementary feeders. So, like, for me, it's going to be a real good option for Plowman and Jones to do what they did against the Doggies and be a little bit more loose and work. So, I mean, see what the viewers think. But, I mean, for me, I think Wheater on Dixon and the rest will fall into place.
Let's have a look at what the viewers think.
Let's see what they say.
Jesse F. Dan, give him the Nick Duigan treatment if we get up. I'm assuming that's for Corns. Where's that video of Duigan absolutely knocking the Hawthorn out of Corns? I've got it on my Twitter somewhere. I remember it.
I'll come for him.
Yeah, we'll find it. Adrian Salerno. Who remembers a guy named Matthew Cruiser? Good point. Good point. There's a few of them like that. Marchbank, another guy who remembers a guy named Caleb Marchbank. Emilio says JSOS for Noons, Bluey 16. Forgot about Jack, Cadrick, Silvani in, Noons out. ZV3. I want to see Williamson on Rosie. Ooh,
I like that.
I like that. Black Carrot believes JSOS for Noons as well. Connor Leahy, are we just going to forget Dow the goat? I love that, Connor. He's got a Paddy Dow profile picture as well. I've got a lot of time for that. What have we got here? Felix, how good is Libba? He's a Bulldogs fan. Really a nice Bulldogs fan. He was a good sport about it this week. Good on you, Felix. _39. Black Carrot, who is our danger man for Port instead of us worrying about Port? Who from the bag or should they be worried about? Who is going to shine? Great question.
I love that question.
No, it is a good question. I'm out here worrying about Port Adelaide. Yeah.
Screw Port.
My bad.
Mugs.
Yeah. My bad. Who are the guys who are primed for the matchup, do you think?
If I were them, I'd be worried about H.
Yeah?
Because once he got that goal, you saw something clicked. Early goals. I keep saying it about H. He's one of them. He's like Buddy. He needs a touch and an easy goal. He's like Jack Darling type. They kick a goal in the first 5 minutes, they kick 5.
Well, to get that early confidence.
Yeah, okay. And you just saw it twig in his eyes, like his eyes light up when the ball came. You saw that hunger. I'd be worried if he gets going. But I'd say our forward line for the first time in a long time, I'd be scared playing it.
Yeah.
Because how do you stop it if you beat us in the air?
I'll tell you how.
Eddie and Jack.
Let's look at the blueprint of what the Lions did to Port. Now, Port, you could argue, had an off day. McStay, the marking ability on that day was ridiculous. Now, Levi has that marking ability on any given day. So I think Levi is going to be a big problem for them this week. I really do. We talk about him as playing that Westhoff role for us. I think he's a better mark than Westhoff, but I think Levi is definitely one. And if we can just find a way to, really stifle their key backs, because Jonas is their captain. If you get on top of him, you kill the snake from the head down. So, yeah, I'm looking at Levi for a big one, and Cripps. He's due. Like it's going to come. It's going to come.
I'm looking at Walsh.
Okay.
Purely because there's been all that talk. Is Rosie better than Walsh? What a time now. You had a good game last game, arguably your best game of the year. A return to form. What a time to put on a show.
Yep.
Against him. In his back, against him, on him.
Yep.
Show him who is the best pick of that draft.
I don't mind that. I need to make note of something. So we had a competition last night for a free Carlton Guernsey.
Oh, yeah.
Right? There was 651 entries.
Jesus.
Not one person got the margin right. So based on what we always do, it'll be a jackpot. So this Sunday, a free Carlton Guernsey will be made available for whoever picks the winner in the correct margin. You've got to wait for the post on Sunday. It's going to go up on Instagram and Facebook, so make sure you're in first. Isn't that fascinating?
I'm shocked because usually there is someone who puts like 58.
Well, there was one person, I've forgotten his name. I believe his first name was Con. He picked Carlton by 54. And it was the closest one anyone got. But no, you got to get it right.
That's unbelievable.
I know.
You should get it purely for the audacity.
Yeah, I know. I thought I'd give everyone a second chance. So
I would have given it to you because that's outrageous that you even suggested that. I love that confidence.
A few more. Let's turn the show now. We'll finish up just with questions from you guys. Please leave them in the comments, and we'll get to as many as we can. A few pre-recorded ones. Nick Wishart, Nick from the Cheer Squad, loved his rant after the game. It was full of positives. It was a good read. Who is higher on our first bloke picked pecking order? Gibbons, Setterfield, or Cunningham? All absolutely flying in 2020. All adapting to new roles weekly. All have shown massive growth to their defensive games. All able to hit the scoreboard. The three most improved on our list right now. I could happily mount a 15-minute argument for each man. Mm-hmm. Answer the question with one of the words. Who is the first
Gibbons.
picked? Yeah, I think I agree. What about you guys at home? Gibbons, Setterfield, or Cunningham? I know it's like picking between your kids and you don't want to, but if you're the coach, who's the first picked out of those three? You say Gibbons. I say Gibbons. I want to hear from you guys. Who is it? Who is it for you guys? Let us know. Hilltop Hoodlum says Gibbons. So does Helena. Lucas says Gibbo. ZV3, welcome to the Premiership member. Z, welcome back, mate.
He's back.
He's back. Thank you very much, mate. Larry TV, Gibbons. Literally, I haven't seen anyone but Gibbons so far. Sean Costello says Setters is very close. Emilio says Setters. Ari says Gibbo. Jed Goodluck says Gibbo. Lola Adamo says Gibbons. Lizzie Hone. Jordan Patterson says Gibbons. I've got to be careful because that Mike Hunt is going to pop up in a minute and really get me. Clinton Bart McRae says Cunningham. Debbie says Gibbons. Preza says Gibbons. George Stella, if Cripps is hurt, then Setters. Alex Kayafa, Gibbons by the length of the Flemington Straight.
Love it.
So it seems,
love a bold.
Yeah, we're not smashing any others. I think it was a really good question. We're not discrediting the others, but yeah, interesting to see. The Blues Footy. This is the Blues Footy podcast. Jed and Harrison. Harrison did an episode of Carlton People with me today. It'll be out tomorrow. Make sure you check them out. Another great footy podcast for Carlton. Who is the most underrated Carlton player in the AFL community? Another great question. I'll let you go first.
Levi Casbolt.
The most underrated Carlton player in the AFL community.
Yeah, AFL community is in non-Carlton players.
Yeah.
I'd say Levi doesn't get. When I speak to foreign opposition fans, they still say the same. He's a hack. He's cack. He's rubbish. Failed forward.
Yeah.
I don't think they give him enough respect for what he does. I genuinely don't believe the media does or any rival fans. He's never in the ones when I speak to them who they worry about.
Yep. Interesting. We've got here on YouTube Ari Stamatakos. He's a Greek fella. Ed. Joseph Silvera says Ed Kerno. Hilltop Hoodlum says Levi or Plowman. Helena says Ed. Bruno says Ed. Jar of Heart says Ed. Jordan Patterson, Eddie Betts. Ollie Tristan says Setterfield. A few Plowmans in here. Brandon P27. Silvani, the amount of hate towards him, and he's so good on his day. Love that, mate. Chris Brighter says Ed Kerno. My answer was Ed Kerno as well. I think he's sort of looked at as I get the feeling that people from outside of Carlton would look at him and say, oh, he's only got a year left or 2 years left. I think this guy's got plenty of football left. So, yeah, well, great questions, guys. Really like that. Jezza McSweeney asks, who starts on Charlie Dixon? We covered that. Ave New asks, he's saying the futures of Darwin, Lockie O'Brien and how they fit in. Great question.
Just got to break in.
Yep.
And it's going to make them better players, isn't it?
Yeah.
Without being gifted games anymore.
Is the ideal situation one where Dow is playing so good that we have to look at dropping a Ed Kerno or a Noons or a Murphy? Is he the next gen? Is that where he slots in now, where he just can go back find his form, and we just be patient with him.
You want it like 2017 Richmond, where Butler had kicked 42 by round 17 in the VFL, and it was an injury that got him into the side.
Mm-hmm.
You want it like that, where Dowie's knocking the door down, 30 touches every weekend in the VFL, 2 goals, and someone has a 14 touch game, like say Murphy has a 15 touch game, and everyone's like, oh, that wasn't his usual best, and we drop him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we want. We want these guys to earn it, because it gives that monogram in meaning, when you're earning it through blood, sweat, and tears. So I think it's going to do them good.
Yep. Libbo JR. When Dan's lid comes off, how long will it take him to put it back on?
It's getting longer.
Yeah.
It used to be like 6 hourly. And then I'd realised we were going to get battered at the weekend. The boys are giving me too much belief. Pretty soon we'll just get rid of the lid.
Yeah.
Screw the lid.
Marcus Scuotto from the Pressure Point podcast. Yep. Love a bit of Marcus. He says, Jack Martin and Pitternet are the recruits of the season. Discuss.
Pitternet, brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
I bought his Guernsey a couple of weeks ago, and Jack Martin has just literally become my life. I'm getting a Jack Martin tattoo. I love the guy. So yeah, I agree. Best moments of my life as a Carlton fan, them too.
Yeah. Is this the first year for the last 2 or 3 where our off-season recruits, mature age recruits have been this impressive this early?
Yeah, this time last year.
Newman was good for us. We thought Newman made an impression early on.
But we always have one, don't we? Like last year, for solo, and you're like, is someone having a laugh?
Yeah.
But this time, you're like this. Everyone we brought in is stellar. Who would have thought Pitt? Let's just be honest. I'd love to hear the viewers' opinion. Did anyone think Pitternet would be this good? Did anyone think at this point you'd be thinking, oh, if Cruiser rings up tomorrow and says I'm retiring, oh, it's all right, we've got Pitternet. Honestly, I saw in our Blue Abroad Super Coach, everyone's got Pitternet as a ruck.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone think that was going to happen? Insane. I'd love to hear if anyone called it.
Yeah. Did anyone see this? I mean, I obviously never watched him. I never watched him play. So
because I spoke to a Hawthorn guy and he said he's the next Dean Cox, and I was like, behave, sir.
Was this before the season?
No, before we signed him. He showed me a post on Big Footy you were in 2018 saying that he could be Dean Cox, he's up there with the Gone ilk. And I read this guy's thing and he was really articulate, but I was like, oh my God, this guy.
Me.
But honestly, maybe he was right.
Christian Chapcoon asks a question to ponder. How disappointed will you be watching us play in the grand final from your lounge rooms? I don't even want to think that far ahead.
I just think all of our Melbourne viewers, stay inside for the next 6 weeks. Don't leave. Don't go to Coles. Eat beans. Because I want to watch the grand final in person because we're going to be there.
I don't care where it is. I'll go.
Honestly, if I see anyone at a coffee shop in the Clyde North region in a Carlton Guernsey, you're dead. Because we got to go.
We do have to get there.
I reckon this is the best thing for Melbourne. If I was Dan Andrews, I'd be like, Carlton are up and about because everyone's staying inside.
Yeah. I can't help but feel like it's going to be a positive for the competition to get more games for our interstate fans, to get more games in Sydney. I'd be interested to see what the numbers are like next year when this all goes back to normal. Pat Curnow. Also, it's worth noting we had 10 first-round draft picks on our list that didn't play last night. Interesting there. Gabriel King, really happy with the win. But how do we retain key players, Fisher, O'Brien, DeConning, Dow, etc., from walking to other clubs from lack of opportunity? Also, keen to know what is our best 22 if we didn't have injuries. Well, let's start with the first part there. How do we retain these players from not walking away when there's opportunity for money and exposure and game time?
You become a Hawthorn, like Luke Hodge said when he went to Brisbane. That was one of his highest paychecks because the team would not command high salaries to be part of a successful list.
Yep.
And when you hear Clarkson talk, he heavily rotates his 22. I see that in Teague as well. I'd say that once we start to become a top 8 side in the terms of we're expected to be, there's a great opportunity because you think someone like Jack Martin, he's loving this at the moment. Gone from, basement dwelling club. And there was a few Gold Coast fans getting up and about last week going, oh, he made a mistake.
Yeah.
That'll start to happen to these young boys. Okay, I could maybe go and play for St Kilda.
Yeah.
Or do I want to win a flag first?
Can't help but feel like there's such a special bond with this group.
Oh.
And honestly, I mean, you might not be on a massive contract, but I can't help but feel, and obviously I've never played at this level, I wonder what it's like for a player who is at one of these big Melbourne clubs. These interstate players, like the Gold Coast players and the GWS players, there's the notion of we want to come to Melbourne and play at the MCG and all of that. I can't help but wonder how many more opportunities, whether it be personal branding, marketing, sponsorship deals, are available to some of these players just purely because they play for the Carlton Football Club, which is arguably the most, prominent brand in the league.
I think when you captain saying stuff though, like finish what we started, I
Yeah.
reckon there's a lot of that vibe. You think Dow, Fisher, Casbolt, Simpson in his time, they've all borne the brunt of criticism from us, fans, the media. There'll be a thing, where it's like, I want to finish this job first.
Mm-hmm.
And if it does come to the stage of where Dow goes, it'll be like, we command a decent value when we get someone younger in.
Yep.
So be it. But I wouldn't worry about that yet.
No, fair point, mate. Fair point. What have we got here? We've got a few more. We're playing North afterwards. We'll lock it in there. We're not worried about it too much because we want to focus on Port. But North Melbourne was confirmed for the game after that. What have we got? Sean Costello, SPS. Good game, but he's not a defender. How do we move him into the midfield? And how do we manage the small defenders and the midfield given the depth we now have on those lines? We can't rotate 150 blokes through there. I feel this sentiment. I can't help but also feeling, as much as I personally and maybe some others want to see him as a midfielder, I can't help but feel like you got to back in what the coaches are doing. They're going to know a lot more than what we do. And if he's been asked to do something that we might not necessarily like, well, too bad for us, because he's been asked to do something that's going to help us win games.
He had a bit more midfield time though yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
He had, I think it was 23% midfield time. So it's creeping up. I see him as Nunes. I think that's maybe what Teague is thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Play him on the ball, a little bit on the wing. You saw Nunes do that and then he drops back.
Yep.
I think maybe this is what this experiment is down the back. Get his defence up so we can jettison Nunes.
Yep.
And then bring Stocker maybe in at the halfback flank. Yep. I reckon that maybe is the longer picture.
I like that. Think about it. He's played a few guys in different positions, like the Setterfield on the wing situation, and now he's changed it. Is this potentially something that he's doing with certain players just to get their skills up in a certain area? Because I can't help but feel like what our brand is, we're very versatile by nature. Apart from, maybe 2 or 3 defenders and 2 or 3 forwards, everybody else can play a myriad of roles. Like you even see Jack Martin at stoppages in defensive 50 at times to help out. Do you think we're trying to is that what we're trying to bring? Is that the point of difference we're trying to bring?
I think you look at GWS, why they were so hard to beat last year with the injuries was the fact that they heavily rotate in game. You see Lockie Whitfield halfback flank, then he's on the ball, then he's on the wing, then he's in the half forward line, he plays in the pocket. Coggy the same. I think for a matchup wise, if you're a coach, it helps. If you're being tagged, Cripper's being tagged, you can throw him at full forward, bring someone into the midfield. You see it throws taggers off. You saw it with Collingwood this weekend. Mm-hmm. Jaden Stevenson was getting played off the park in the first 5 minutes, goes to the halfback flank, Varco swaps with him, and Stevenson has a blinder and so does Varco. So that versatility throws teams off. Yep. And Hawthorn did it to us, if you remember, in Tasmania, when we were dominating. They made a few switcheroos and Hawthorn killed us.
Yeah. Black Carrot has just made a $23 donation with a comment here. A couple of beers on me, up the Blues. Cheers, fellas.
Oh, I love you, bro.
How good's that?
I love you.
Thanks very much, Black Carrot.
Appreciated.
Rowan Vertigan, do you think Cogs is regretting his decision yet? Well, he hasn't been.
Fuck him. Can't stand the bloke.
The audacity.
Don't piss in my pocket and tell me it's raining.
Yeah, the audacity.
I hope he's miserable. I hope his chai lattes taste shite.
Yeah, because he can't get the same type of coffee, the Melbourne Coffee Roasting Co. type coffee in Melbourne at Carlton.
I hope he gets a hole in his boat and he pisses off. Screw him. Couldn't care.
That was brilliant.
His problem.
That was brilliant. Hilltop Hoodlum says, flexibility is key. Mozal says, we need a Dan and Terry podcast every day. I don't know about that.
It's 24 hours, yeah.
I could do this 24/7.
That's what I said last night.
Shad, you happy to stay for a 24-hour stream?
Yeah. Just provide the beer and we've got the coffee.
We've got the coffee.
Yeah.
So
let's do it.
How's that for a natural play?
Tell you what, if we win the grand final, we'll just live 24 hours on his coffee. See how long we can go.
Jesse F, tell us how you really feel, Dan. A few more questions. Debbie O'Connor, look at the position he plays. Of course, he's going to make some mistakes. So does Jones, Weeders, Doc, Levi. They're human, not robots. Plough does his job every week. 100%.
Love Plough.
I said it in my
Keep
player
sticking up
ratings.
for him.
He did one thing wrong in the game. He slipped over. It was the 2-minute 30 mark of the third quarter. I think I had it written down here. Yep. 2 minutes 30 to go in the third quarter. He slips over. Bontempelli on the lead, goes back and kicks the goal. Apart from that, he was perfect. If anything, the next layer for Plowman is sometimes he does the double fist spoil. If he had the confidence to go up and take that mark,
There's a few times,
yeah, maybe that'll allow people to say, "Oh, Plowman." But end of the day, his job as a defender, kill the contest or take the mark. And if you're not confident in taking the mark, make the spoil. So let's give Plough some love. It was his 100th game.
See, I always stick up for Plough. I hate sticking up for Plough. I really do, because it gets really intense. Like the last couple of weeks, the hatred for Plough is real. Like he's become the Levi Casbolt of this team. You know, like 5 years ago, every time we lost, Casbolt was crap.
Yeah, we're
Get
all
rid of
looking
him,
for someone to point the
trade him.
finger to. Yeah, you're right.
Like, do you know what I mean? We traded him around. Like they mentioned it this week as well, didn't they? Casbolt, he was offered to clubs for a 4th rounder and no one took him by the club. And then we gave him the extension.
Yeah.
Like, how great would it be to see Plowman suddenly retrain as I don't know, Harry McKay gets injured a grand final. We play Plowman full forward. He kicks 6. So we love him again. I love Plough.
No, I do.
Lay off my Plough.
Give him a lot of credit. Look, guys, big game this week. If we can back up this performance against the Doggies, you know, down at Port Adelaide, it's just so massive for this club. We've got to take it week by week. It's cliche, but I think this season has allowed us to do that. Dan, thank you as always for being a part of the show. Shad, thank you as always for helping. Guys, you guys in the audience, the members, everyone who views, comments, watches, gets amongst it, keeps the positivity in the community going. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening and go the Mighty Blues.
Top 4, baby.